Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's talk about what is happening with NVIDIA stock. A little bit of an underperformance, I would argue, compared to the market, really, compared to like AMD or Tesla. So we'll talk about everything, give you my thoughts, and yeah, let's just jump into it. If you enjoy, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live. That link is down below in the description of the video. For just $3 a month, you get access to all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, technical analysis on Tesla and just the broader market as a whole sometimes as well. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Or for $5 a month, you get access to all of that plus NVIDIA daily updates as well every day. So definitely check it out. Would love to have you there. But let's jump into it. NVIDIA closing the day up, still beautiful 4%. Unfortunately, definitely, you can argue that it's a little bit of an underperformance rather compared to the markets, right? Definitely a bit of a sell-off happening with NVIDIA as it came up to that 120 resistance once again. We've been talking about 120 many times. Massive resistance, right? It needs to break above 120 to see 123, above that 126, right? We've mentioned these, $3 increment resistance levels or target levels many times. Came up to 120, almost to perfection. 119.66, pretty damn close. Obviously found rejection. However, we closed back above the 21 EMA. So that's a good sign. So there's a few good signs. I actually think NVIDIA still looks pretty good. It's actually a pretty decent setup here in my opinion, actually. And the reason for that is because it hasn't run up too much. So in my opinion, the boat hasn't really been missed unless you happen to, unless you're getting FOMO from yesterday, for instance, which by the way, the fact that we closed yesterday below the 21 EMA like this, granted, like I said, it was pretty much right at that 0.32 Fibonacci retracement, right? So, like I said yesterday, if there was a place to bounce, this is one of them. It's just the fact that we closed below the 21 EMA is not really giving me confidence, but you never know sometimes with the market. Sometimes you get these kind of moves. But the point I'm trying to make here is this. We closed back above the 21 EMA. Great. That's a good sign. The fact that we did that after such a, honestly, massive bear trap yesterday is a good sign. I like to see that. That tells me that the bulls really are in control here. And I'd be pretty surprised if we close back below the 21 EMA. Again, let's say tomorrow or next week even, right? I'd be pretty surprised, personally. It could happen. It's always a risk. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is guaranteed. But after such a fake out, usually when you get these kind of fake outs, from my experience, you snapshot up the opposite direction. So that's number one. We close back above the 21 EMA. We have my bands. This is one of my favorite indicators. I haven't been using it too often, but I should use it more often. NVIDIA, whenever it gets into oversold or overbought territories, well, you know what the drill is, right? More often than not, you're probably going to go up to the opposite direction. It's not perfect. Sometimes it stays overbought. Sometimes it stays oversold. But more often than not, you would expect once it gets to one of these extreme levels, kind of like what it did over here back at 102, you're probably going to find a reversal, or on the opposite side, once it gets to overbought conditions like it did up here at 130, same thing. So that's number one. Right now we're right in the middle, which is good. We're not overbought, we're not oversold. NVIDIA is actually kind of like in a pretty neutral state here, right? Which is arguably a good sign. Arguably, it means that NVIDIA has more room to the upside. Like there is room to the upside for NVIDIA. Like I honestly think it coming up to about 125, 126. I really don't think that's completely impossible, like even within the next week or two. Like that seems like a possibility, and I'll explain why, right? It's not just because. I'll say why. First and foremost, RSI is still bullish, right? It hasn't crossed bearish. It's still bullish, still looking pretty damn solid. It is of course entering overbought territories, but in my opinion, if NVIDIA does run up to 126, it'll just the RSI, not the RSI, stochastic will pretty much enter the same overbought territories as it has many times in the past before, of course, I think a rejection will happen, right? I do think 126, 125, especially if we go up sooner than later, very high chance of rejection there. That's number one. Number two, RSI still looks solid. It's not overbought. It is still looking bullish. It's not overbought, has more room to the upside. I personally, I like the way NVIDIA is looking right now. Even after the 4% move today, I still think that there's a healthy amount of potential upside remaining. As long as, of course, I'll make this clear, as long as we maintain above that 21 EMA. Very important. MACD, pretty decent. Back to higher highs, still across bullish, right? I think the MACD still looks good. I really like the setup. I really do like the setup. Now, granted, a bit more downside is to be expected. Why? Well, we talked about this bull flag, right? We said there's a bull flag forming on NVIDIA, right? I personally, again, and I mentioned this, I personally would have liked to see lower. I really would have wanted to see 110 to 108. That would have been like the best entry for me. Like that would have been a phenomenal entry. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. It is what it is. But expect a bit more downside. Why? Well, it's pretty simple stuff, right? So again, we were forming this bull flag, right? It looks something like this. Again, just a rough example of it. Right? It looks something like this. We were talking about it yesterday, right? Let's take that Fibonacci one more time on the 1 hour this time. Take a look from here to here. And you can see, came down right almost to perfection to that 382 level. Pretty rare that you bounce off of this. Honestly, it's pretty common that you actually go lower to about the 0.5 or 618. That's usually where you go to. But I guess NVIDIA decided, never mind. Regardless of what, regardless of those levels, bull flag, breakout, and you know what's next? Retest, right? That's what I want to see. Nice little bull flag. And now I want to see you come back down to retest this bull flag breakout tomorrow, somewhere around 116.5-ish, give or take another dollar, maybe $2 lower than what we are right now. Tomorrow or Monday, probably tomorrow is what I would expect. But this is where it gets important. As long as this retest holds, in my opinion, it's very bullish. It's literally here, bull flag. Like let's just take a look at a typical bull flag. So okay, these ones aren't really showing the retest. I want one that shows the retest, because again, more often than not, you get those little retests on the bull flag. If you break out, retest, and you move higher. So like, I mean, same idea, obviously, like if you take a look at this compared to like NVIDIA, right? Same idea. Like obviously, if I bring back the other line, right? Pretty much we're, literally, that's exactly what we're doing. But again, none of them are showing it for some reason, but it's not uncommon to get a retest, right? You break out, come back down, and you get a retest. So that's kind of what I'm expecting next, right? Again, 116.5-ish is what I would expect. And as long as that holds, we move up even higher, in my opinion. The thing that makes this a lot more easier to do, though, is the fact that the 21 EMA tomorrow will move up a little bit higher. It's going to slowly come back up to us. So tomorrow, the E21 EMA will probably get closer to 116, which is perfect. So this retest, not only will we retest in this bull flag 1 hour breakout or 4 hour breakout or whatever you want to call it, but it'll also most likely have a support with that 21 EMA, also somewhere around that mid to low 116s, we'll say. As long as these levels hold, I think NVIDIA is looking very nice for a continuation on this move. And the way you usually measure these continuations is, well, you take the bull flag, go from down here, go up to the top of the pole, essentially, which is pretty much right around here. Let's say we come back up and we get this, little, retest, and it's successful, everything is good, and it plays out like a typical bull flag, no issues whatsoever, and we continue up. I mean, the bull flag suggests that we can actually go up as high as 135. I'd be pretty surprised. I wouldn't actually rely on that personally. I mean, again, it's a rough measurement. I personally think the main level to look out for, if we do get this bull flag play out, will be 125, 126. I don't think it's ready to break out of this overall tightness that is setting up here just yet. So my overall expectation will be something like this. Come back down, retest, assuming it happens. Let's just say it happens. Move up higher over the next week or two, something like that. Come up to about 126, 125, 124, somewhere around up there, right? We'll say mid 120s. Ultimately, we come up there like this. And then I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we get a massive rejection. We'll probably start getting pretty nice overbought signals on the RSI and the stochastic. Ultimately, come back down, probably come back to the ultimate bottom of this green trend line once again, probably find support. And you can see we'll probably set a lower high, set a higher low. And I think we'll just kind of be zigzagging like this until we ultimately pick a direction and we finally break out and do like this, or we go like this, right? That's kind of what NVIDIA is going to be pretty much looking like it wants to do, right? We want to wait for one of these levels to finally give, and that's most likely the direction will continue. Up until then, expect pretty much ping-ponging between the two overall zones. But as long as you're above the 21 EMA, there's a much higher chance that we go up to 126 next. Below the 21 EMA, such as yesterday, which was a bear trap. Again, usually when you get these kind of bear traps, I expect slingshots in the opposite direction, so we'll see. But usually when you get these kind of, if you're below the 21 EMA, we'll expect most likely a move back down to set a higher low, somewhere around, let's say 105 or something like that. It just depends on when it happens. But that's kind of what I'm seeing right now moving forward with NVIDIA, right? I think it's looking pretty solid. If we bring out the bands, you can also see if we go up to about that 126 region, especially if it happens to say next week, we are going to start getting into overbought territories on the bands, kind of like what we did over here, right? We'll start entering that region. So will be an area to definitely cool off. And I think the RSI will absolutely get overbought. Again, don't forget my RSI is set to 5, much more aggressive. So it's not a lagging indicator with the way I have it set. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how I see it. That's just really the easiest way to put it. And that's my current expectations of NVIDIA. So as per usual, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down below. NVIDIA's options flow, taking a look over here, pretty bullish, actually. By far the highest bullish, 44 million. It's looking pretty damn solid. In terms of options flow on cheddar flow, a lot of bulls coming in as well. You can see up here a much more bullish flow compared to a bearish flow, like call flow versus put flow, which is nice to see. The bulls are stepping in. I think the bulls will want to see NVIDIA move higher. I'm just kind of glad it's kind of lagging a little bit here to the market, because as long as we hold that retest and as long as we don't fall back below the 21 EMA, which it is a possibility we do, but I don't think we will, but assuming we hold, man, it's looking like a pretty damn good setup, man. I'm very much liking the setup personally, and I'm absolutely going to be playing it. And I already added a position. put a little bit of a hedge on it, and I will continue adding if we dip down to 116 tomorrow. Very excited about that, and I hope you do. I really hope you do. But yeah, all in all, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Again, if you enjoyed these videos, don't forget to hit that like button, join the membership section as well. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, peace.